need power. More power.
You got some pretty big cojones for coming back.
We are one and the same, you and I. But you've lost me, and I've lost you.
So, for those who don't know, Virgil dropped on the 14th of this month, which is approximately 4 days ago in this recording, and it's 5 in the morning, and I am drained of all energy, and I haven't slept at all since. So, figured today, since it's been a couple days since I've played him, and I played him for a couple days, and I figured now that I have a solid opinion to be able to talk about Virgil and some of the things I liked and dislike about Virgil in Devil May Cry 5. This isn't going to be some sort of review in a sense. I mean, I'm going to make it a review, might as well, because that's exactly what it is. In the video, I'm just going to go over some things that, you know, like I said already, some dislikes, some likes, and some things I kind of wanted to have Virgil have, or some changes in some senses. But let's go ahead and get right in the video. So first things first, gameplay changes wise. Virgil didn't get a whole lot of changes over from Devil May Cry 4 to 5. From what I noticed, Virgil is pretty much all the same, but he has most certainly he has new abilities, I will say that much. He now has 2 dedicated dodge buttons technically. Without locking on, if you press circle, Virgil will trick to the side, frontwards, side to side, or backwards. Basically works as a incentive for you to dodge moves at the perfect time for you to gain more concentration gauge or focus gauge in this case. I usually flip-flop between the two terms, so don't lynch me here. I'm trying my best. And it also increases your style ranking too. So it's pretty much a really nice incentive for the player to go on ahead and try using that instead of regular dodging. It looks cooler in my opinion, and it's way more effective than the awful side-to-side dodging in Devil May Cry 5 anyway. That whole dodging spiel I just went over for the awful dodging part, that's a whole video within itself. But overall, when it comes down to gameplay changes, a lot did not change with Virgil. When you look at it from Devil May Cry 4 to 5, Virgil just pretty much got new abilities that he can now use, which kind of enhances gameplay, which I really do enjoy about Devil May Cry 5 Virgil. And now we can kind of go ahead and get into some more detailed stuff, like focus gauge and concentration gauge. Alright, before I even start talking about this, just so I can stop saying focus and concentration, I'm going to just say focus gauge, since I've called it I've pretty much called it the focus gauge the entire time I've seen it. I know it's called concentration gauge, but please bear with me. I call it focus gauge. So for his focus gauge changes from Devil May Cry 4 to 5, there isn't really a whole lot to really note with the focus gauge change. The most I can really say is that they aren't as gracious with giving you his focus gauge as much as I noticed from 4 to 5, really. Taunting gives you a lot of focus. It builds it up very fast. Simply by locking on in Devil May Cry 4, you would pretty much build up a whole bar of focus gauge in just sheer seconds, and it really wouldn't matter. Now in Devil May Cry 5, you just don't have one solitary focus gauge. You have now level 1 focus and level 2 focus. In Devil May Cry 4, it seemed a lot that Virgil's focus gauge pretty much just made Virgil hit harder, it seemed. But now in Devil May Cry 5, it actually enhances Virgil's gameplay. So now, level 1 and 2 focus, it pretty much changes the effects of Virgil's weapons. So for the Yamato, it increases the range of Yamato's attacks. For Beowulf, it gives a 3-stage charge. For Mirage Edge, in this case, it would give more hits for certain attacks. So like instead of doing just one singular stinger, you would do like, I don't know, like a 3-hit stinger or something. I couldn't really tell the difference for Mirage Edge. The game is not very lenient with giving you focus. The game obviously wants you to earn it by attacking opponents and not dropping combos and not hitting things, I guess. I don't really know. But that's what it seems like in Devil May Cry 5. When locking on, you don't really get a lot. The focus gauge builds up very, very, very slowly. You don't build up an awful lot of focus gauge, but it's clearly evident that that when you're playing that, the game obviously wants you to perform better in order for you to get more focus to enhance your experience in the game. I'm not really going to go into in-depth on his focus gauge because there isn't really a whole lot to go over, because focus gauge is pretty much focus gauge. The only thing I think is really nice is that it feels like Virgil's gameplay is being enhanced rather than him just hitting things like a fucking truck now. So that concludes the fucking focus gauge. And I really gotta stop using bad words in these videos because that's bad. Next thing I want wanted to go over is his Sin DT and his Doppelganger bars. Well, I'm just gonna go over them all together. So basically his Sin DT functions just like Dante's in a sense, but Dante does not have a dramatic, well, not Dante. Well, his Sin DT functions exactly like Dante's, except he does not have a dramatic animation for it. He just turns it on and that's it. I'm not entirely sure if he has quadruple S or not. Don't make fun of me here because I didn't really notice that right off. I'm not entirely sure if he has quadruple S, but it does seem like Virgil does have quadruple S. His DT does seem to function a lot like his Devil May Cry 4 DT, but slightly altered, it seems. In DT, just in general for Virgil, he does not seem as OP as he was in Devil May Cry 4. Just my personal overview on that one. Just DT Virgil does not seem needed in a sense. When you're playing the game, when you already have Doppelganger, you don't really feel the incentive to use DT. Not because it's Sin DT or anything, but since it's such an asset in a sense. When you look at it in a sense, Sin DT is pretty much, like your last resort. In my case, it's my last resort since I never really get hit when I'm playing Virgil. I mean, I do get hit, but in this case, since I fucking suck at video games after all, we figured, why not go on ahead and just express my lack of being able to be good at video games. So there's that. Back on topic here, Virgil's Sin DT just does not seem like something I would use right off the gate because, it's Sin DT. It seems very important to have and to keep up and, keep the meter build up for it. So if I do use it, I don't use it for very long. I'll use it for a few seconds, but not very long because I want to make sure I never completely run out of the DT gauge in Devil May Cry 5 because it's very important. Compared to Dante, where I am more prone to use his regular DT rather than his Sin DT, since I can pretty much do more damage with his DT than I can his Sin DT, oddly enough, and I can use it more effectively. It just seems a lot less hectic using Virgil's Sin DT. Because let's be honest here, when you're using Dante's DT in Devil May Cry 5, you don't hold the lock-on button, and you just spam triangle. You just hit the button, you eat triangle, you mash the button in hopes that you'll just hit something, just blindly whacking and slicing at demons that come forth your way. Overall, I just really do not see the point with using Virgil's DT, really. Once you have level 2 focus, it doesn't really matter if you use his DT or not. Like I said, Virgil just doesn't seem as OP as he was in Devil May Cry 4. Maybe because the two games play just virtually different, and that's just how I see it. I mean, you can make fun of me all you want, but I'm a filthy DMC4 fan. I mean, I know it's not 3, and I know it's not 1 or something, but I mean, if I'm honest, when it comes down to Devil May Cry, there's plenty of room for liking the game. Just don't like Devil May Cry 2 because at that point you'll lose internet points and that's not cool. Now I'm gonna start talking about Doppelganger. Doppelganger is pretty much just DMC Devil May Cry Doppelganger, really. There isn't really a whole lot to go over, really. Doppelganger kind of just works, I guess, depending on if you're double triggered or not. And you pull out, Doppelganger, it enhances Doppelganger's game. I wouldn't say gameplay, really, because you don't play as Doppelganger. But I mean, in a sense, it really just enhances Doppelganger's kind of feel, his overall play style. When you use Doppelganger, you can switch the modes for Doppelganger, so Doppelganger can move at the speed you're moving at. He can either move faster than you, or all of his attacks can be delayed, and you can reset his position, so you can call him back to you if he gets too far. Overall, speaking on it, I really use Doppelganger more than I do Sin DT, because Doppelganger seems a lot more effective without DT. I mean, I know overall playing Devil May Cry is to do high damage and to get a high style ranking. I get that, but with Virgil, it just doesn't seem necessary to use his DT. I use Doppelganger more than I use his DT. I use his regular moves than I do his just AoE end all fuck all moves. I use all of his basic moves more than I do anything else. So just for me, Doppelganger seems like more of an important asset rather than Sin DT. Like I'll say again, I pretty much only use Sin DT when I really need to use it, and I pretty much am backed into a corner, and that's about it. So there really is, like I said, there isn't a whole lot to go over with Doppelganger since it's, Doppelganger. Doppelganger won't do Judgment Cut End. He won't do Hell on Earth. I mean, he won't do Deep Stinger. If you do those moves, it will call Doppelganger off. Doppelganger will get turned off when you try to do that. But overall, Doppelganger is just a pretty cool thing that they added in there, I guess. And it's pretty interesting that they managed to just think that, hey, let's add a DMC 3 style to Virgil. Yeah, I guess there really isn't a whole lot to go over with Doppelganger, really. It's just Doppelganger. Now I'm gonna go over some personal things I wished for. When it comes down to it overall, I kind of wish that Virgil was a little more fast, I guess. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going on with that one, but Virgil doesn't seem as, like, super duper fast in Devil May Cry 5. Maybe it's because I don't have turbo. I mean, I don't really think turbo's an excuse, because every character in this game functions vastly different from every other one. Like, comparing Dante's gameplay to V's gameplay, you can obviously see which character literally functions faster than the other one. I will say this much though, comparing, let's say, Dante to Virgil, Dante's gameplay is probably the most fastest one out of all 4 characters that have been added to the game. Virgil seems slightly slow. He doesn't seem very sluggish, nor does he seem heavy in a sense, but he just kind of seems slow, if you get what I mean. His moves seem strong, but they don't seem very OP, like I said. This pretty much dates back to me saying when Virgil doesn't seem that broken compared to Devil May Cry 4 Virgil. I can't really compare him to Devil May Cry 3 Virgil since I refuse to play Devil May Cry 3 Virgil for no reason at all. I just don't really have the interest to play DMC 3 Virgil. I think I just lost internet points saying that, but that's okay. But anyway, Virgil does not seem OP, really. I enjoyed Virgil an awful lot. I can personally say when I found out, well, I didn't find out, but when I was told that Virgil was in the PlayStation Store on the 14th, I immediately, and I mean immediately, got Virgil, went to the game, started playing him, and it was just wonderful from that day forward. Really, if you think about it, Virgil just doesn't function the same way he would in 4. I mean, you can argue that, yeah, of course, Velvet, it's Devil May Cry 4 Virgil, and Devil May Cry 5 Virgil, it's all a bunch of excuses, in my opinion, really. I'm looking at it, though the characters function vastly different, you could say they play somewhat the same in some regard, because the moveset, how they play, certain combos you can do, there's just certain aspects of Devil May Cry 5 Virgil you're going to have to take away to be able to comfortably compare him to Devil May Cry 4 Virgil, really. But overall, I really did enjoy Virgil. There's really one particular change that I wanted, really. One, I really wish that the Cindy T gauge and the Doppelganger gauge were swapped. Not saying because for image purposes or that I hold the button down for too long, but I am just saying, personally speaking, that I kind of wish it was flip-flopped, kind of. I wouldn't say hold the button down for fucking Doppelganger, but it would be cool to be able to hold the button down for Doppelganger, since there is an obvious charge and an animation for it, and I'm not saying it activates right off, but it would be pretty nice if the Doppelganger gauge and the Devil Trigger gauge were kind of swapped, in a sense. I mean, it really doesn't matter, honestly, since you can just activate Doppelganger with the D-pad, so what I'm saying now is just empty weight. This is just something I have written down in my notes because I remember having had said when I played Virgil the first day that I wanted the Cindy T gauge and the Doppelganger gauge to be switched. I don't know why I thought that at first, but it was just an idea that I thought would be pretty neat, so there's that. Overall, Virgil just seems pretty fine. There wasn't a lot of changes that I wanted with Virgil. One, I kind of wish that you got more concentration. One thing that I noticed was that when you are using Virgil's trick and you were just dodging, if you don't dodge at the right time, you don't get any focus for dodging, just dodging stuff, really, because you aren't locked on and you're technically moving away, so you're going to lose focus for that one. But I kind of wish that just dodging in general, just dodging enemies and dodging attacks from the enemy, but not at the right time, you would still get concentration, but not a lot of it, and fuck, I'm flip-flopping between the two again, god damn it. But anyway, I wish you would get focus for that, and really, in all honesty. I feel like if you were in the middle of a combo and you knock an opponent down, but those last couple hits don't hit, that you don't lose focus as long as you're locked on. Really? Because I kind of don't like it. I don't like when I'm in the middle of like doing a combo with Virgil and just like 2 hits miss and I just kind of miss out on getting level 2, like level 2 focus. You can blame that on me partially, but I feel like the devs kind of play hand on that part a little bit. Overall, Virgil is completely faithful to DMC4 Virgil, which I think is amazing, and I think it's pretty cool. But overall, there really isn't a whole lot to go over. Everything is pretty fine. One thing that bugs me is that when you are using Beowulf, which I want them to fix, not saying because, you know, it's a problem or anything, but I just want it to be fixed because, you know, it just looks a little weird. When Virgil does certain taunts, with Beowulf equipped, not saying he has to, and there are certain taunts Virgil does where his hand stays balled up. Now, I don't expect when you have a giant metal demon gauntlet over your hand or hovering over your hand that you're able to extend your meaty, greasy fingers. Just saying, it would be pretty nice if they fix that, because I don't like looking at it because it's a little weird when I'm grabbing a Needhog hatchling. God, I get those shits mixed up. When I get a Needhog hatchling, Virgil just grabs it with his knuckles and not his hand. It would be really nice because, let's be honest here, it looks weird. Maybe it doesn't bug everyone else, but it sure does bug the hell out of me. But overall, I really did enjoy Virgil. Playing Virgil was quite the experience in Devil May Cry 5. I really do like him a lot. All of the things that I really griped about were just kind of on me, really. There wasn't really a whole lot to go over with DMC5 Virgil, since there isn't a whole lot of things to really go in depth on. I mean, I could have broken down doing just judgment cuts or instant judgment cuts. I could have broken that down, but I'm not really good at it, so why should I try and lecture other people on it? Because, you know, that'd be like a false prophet at that point. But that concludes the video. It's Velvet Groove, and I'm signing out.